So I'm Jonathan Montgomery and I'm Professor of Healthcare Law at University College London, as well as Chair of Oxford University Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust. And my work as a law professor focuses on the best ways to regulate the way we use health technologies, and of course one of those is the use of health data. Potentially, if we use health data well, we can learn an awful lot about what helps us remain well and supports us when we need treatment. It's a major opportunity for research, and what we need to build is a common understanding of what's at stake in that enterprise and how we can make sure that everybody gets something they think is valuable out of the use and careful stewardship of health data. So I imagine, like me, most of you would really value the reliability of the services that you might need in the future or your family might need in the future. And if we could be confident that the appropriate stewardship of health data would promote improved healthcare either now or in the future, the NHS being there when we need it, we'd be supportive of that. So I want our health system to be as clinically effective as possible, as efficient as possible. I don't want to have to keep repeating my health details every time I go to a hospital or visit the GP. I want the health system, the National Health Service, to use my data carefully. And I might be worried as I look at that about concerns about privacy. And many people looking at the use of health data recognise that that data is intensely personal. And by and large, they want to be confident that the only people to see it are people who they can trust to protect their privacy. But the value of anonymised data, which can be aggregated, the patterns can be looked at, and research can be driven by hypotheses that come out of that, will be enormous for our families in the future. So I'm quite comfortable usually with sharing my health data for delivery services directly to me. I'm also familiar with the fact that in order for the National Health Service to operate efficiently, it has to manage data, it has to know what GPs are doing so they can be paid properly. And I also recognise that the health data about me will be valuable for planning the care for other people in the future. Of course, I don't want to be harmed by a breach of confidentiality. And therefore I need to be confident that the data is protected and that access to that is properly managed. But of course there's also a social value to use that health data. I rely on the NHS to be there when I need it, and I recognise that I need to contribute taxes to support the NHS, to play my role in supporting it for the future. So I care a lot about the fact that high quality research can be done, we can find out which treatments work, and we can collaborate with appropriate partners, and those partners are sometimes clinicians, they're sometimes academics, they're sometimes people trying to develop new products for the market, new ways of analysing data. We need to work in partnership with a whole range of people, and we need to know that they share the values that we have around the privacy and confidentiality of data. So I think the best way to think about that is that we're trying to create a sort of club of mutual benefit. I want to know that my services are going to be improved. I want to know that my privacy is going to be protected. I want to know that my family will get a better service in the future. And if I'm going to share my data to enable that to happen, I want to be confident that the NHS is going to benefit. I'm not too worried myself about partnerships with commercial organisations if I believe the NHS gets a good deal. But I would be very worried if I felt that the companies were taking advantage of the NHS. So pulling our health data is not a free-for-all. It's a sort of mutual agreement about the best way to get the benefit that we all need. And we'll all want slightly different things from that. What we need to build is that shared understanding by talking with each other about what it is that we value most, what it is that we fear most, who we trust to oversee the stewardship of the health data. And out of that, we can begin to derive an explanation of the conditions on which it's acceptable to use that data. Now, trust is absolutely central to this. If we don't trust the people operating the system, if we don't trust the quality of the data that goes in, if we don't trust the protections for our privacy, we won't be able to go into this enterprise together. I don't think we should get hung up on the idea of ownership. My health data is data about me, but I only have access to that data because I've worked with the system and clinicians who've done tests, who've observed, who've advised, and have explained to me what it is that those measurements, those tests mean and what they add up to. I've never had it except in that arrangement with the health system, and I expect the health service to properly respect my privacy in that, but I also recognise the contribution that they've made. When I take medicines, I trust that the regulatory system has checked that we understand about side effects and risks, because the appropriate research has been done, lodged with the regulators, analysed and used as the foundation for the approval of the use of medicines. So I'm relying on an awful lot of trust in the system that's come before. And I hope we can create the same sort of inspiring trust in the system of the future. We need to know that the way in which we pool our health data, the way in which we make sure that we decide that the appropriate people have access to it in ways that enable them to be effective in their missions to drive new medicines, make our health service more efficient, give us early warnings perhaps if things are going to go wrong. All those things are really important to my health and my family's health in the future. But I need to know that everybody using that data respects those ground rules, and it's the building up of those ground rules that we need everybody to work together to articulate and specify, so that where we get ourselves is a system where we can trust that the NHS looks after our data safely, the clinicians who are looking after us have access to the data they need to advise us on what the right treatments are, the researchers are able to understand the impact of any interventions that they study and try. The drug companies, if they're trying to identify new drugs, can get reliable information quickly and can then make the appropriate applications to get their drugs used. And of course, it's not just drugs, it's also decision support tools using artificial intelligence, all sorts of opportunities that the future will bring if we can use our data wisely and exercise good stewardship. So I think the key things we need to bear in mind is that we all need to have our interests protected. We need to have our privacy protected, which means that data will need to be anonymised. It can't be completely protected against people putting two and two together and matching data up and identifying us, but we can minimise that enormously. We can make sure that the way in which people access data protects against misuse. We can track the people who access it so that we can follow up and hold them to account should they use it inappropriately, but also should they fail to use it to deliver the things that we need them to deliver. And we'll probably find that we spot things that we weren't aware were there, and that will enable us to give early warnings to people or diagnoses that they haven't previously been able to identify and deliver significant health benefits. But all of that depends on us agreeing what we think we're trying to achieve, agreeing what we think the risks might be of things going wrong, and making sure that we have protections in place to stop them going wrong. So this is all about stewardship that enables us to be confident that the system will deliver improved healthcare for us, for our families and for patients in the future. And that's why it's really important that we engage in these issues now and take time to get those things right.